Tonight, a new port has been given the green light to be built in Port Spencer, creating more than 100 local jobs, and how the federal coalition plans to prevent cyberbullying amongst Spencer Gulf kids.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. There's been a major development for grain exports on the Eyre Peninsula. Peninsula Ports has secured funding for a multi-million-dollar export facility to be built at Port Spencer. Here's Henry Millick.
A revolutionary grain facility has been given the go-ahead to be built 20 kilometres northeast of Tumby Bay. The port plans to store 800,000 tonnes of grain.
About 50,000 tonnes of storage preparatory to loading boats, and it has about 1 million tonnes of grain within 100 kilometres of the port.
Peninsula Ports acquiring the funds from Aria Commodities, a global trading company. The company putting $250 million towards the build, in turn boosting the economy and creating over 100 jobs.
We're estimating that about 150 jobs will be created as part of the construction phase, and then once we're in operations, 20 permanent positions, and of course during harvest that'll peak up to about 80.
Local farmers are also looking to benefit, cutting down their delivery times and costs.
The figure out there is probably $20 a tonne that we have lost due to a monopoly. And so you put that number over the tonnes that we produce, say 2 million tonnes, that's $40 million a year that we as the peninsula miss out on.
The deepwater port will create competition within the region and will drive down exporting prices. The continuous strain on the local road network is also expected to ease.
Having a port which is out of Port Lincoln will relieve the number of trucks going through the streets of Port Lincoln and therefore relieve some of the congestion in the town.
Very good news for us as growers. It enables us to have a port that's in an area of deep sea water, which is very good and good from a logistics perspective and an efficiency perspective.
The facility is planned to be fully operational in time for the 2023 harvest, after signing an Indigenous land use agreement with the Bungala community. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A man has died following a crash at Cleve on Friday. Just after 12:30 p.m, police and emergency services were called to Wake Road following reports of a sedan coming off the road and colliding with a parked car. The 85-year-old driver from Cleve was taken to Royal Adelaide Hospital with serious injuries and sadly passed away yesterday. Major crash investigations are appealing for anyone who witnessed the incident to come forward. The death is the 27th life lost on our state's roads. The federal coalition has renewed a pledge to protect the Spencer Gulf children from potential bullying and abuse online. It's looking at introducing new legislation to force the hand of social media companies if re-elected to power.
It's a move the coalition says will help protect children right across the Spencer Gulf. If re-elected into Parliament, the party will renew its push to force social media companies to remove cyberbullying and cyber abuse material off their platforms.
We've already moved in a lot of places to try and limit that material, but in particular, we need parents to step up the plate, but it's so flaming confusing.
The member for Grey saying he's concerned about the content of posts that could potentially harm children on the internet. He says the coalition will also push to unmask anonymous online trolls, with tech companies also required to install stronger parental controls on their platforms.
They will know how to do it or be able to develop it quite quickly. I mean, they've got experts to do this, so we need them to actually commit to making that change, or otherwise we'll make them.
In addition, the party has promised a $23 million e-safety schools package, providing extra training for teachers to help their students stay safe online, vowing to help and protect children from potential online abuse from perpetrators.
The schools are also a steadying influence in people's life and a good place to educate children about the dangers of the internet.
The plans also include introducing new anti-trolling legislation and privacy laws, as well as the establishment of an online safety youth advisory council.
It's a fast-changing world, fast-changing technology, and we have, as a government, we have to keep committing to making sure we're doing the very best we can to protect our kids.
Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Teachers in Broken Hill took part in the statewide strike action today in solidarity with their colleagues in the capital. It's the second time in 6 months our educators have walked off the job with no improvement on pay or work conditions.
It's been 5 months since Broken Hill teachers last gathered at the Musicians Club, and unfortunately, it's for the same reasons as before. And despite time passing, nothing has changed. Instead, teachers have been left with no choice but to take strike action.
Pretty much the same today. It hasn't waned at all. Staff and teachers are very, very passionate about this.
At the moment, it is hard to get teachers out to cities and towns in the far west. And there are fears already stressed educators will be forced to fill the gaps, taking on the extra workload, leaving them burnt out and possibly on the lookout for another career, leaving the workforce shorter than it already is.
It's ridiculously hard. We've had schools advertise positions 5-6 times and not had a single reply or response.
New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet has already pushed back a 2.5% pay rise for teachers, saying he's trying to balance the budget. It's left some in the profession feeling that he is stalling.
I think you'll find that the IRC, even though whether it's today or tomorrow, the result's going to be the same of 2.5 because of legislation.
The most frustrating thing for our teachers is that every day they are short-staffed. It's left students to suffer the most by missing out on their education. So that's what today's strike was all about.
Every single day there are students in our schools that are missing out on a teacher in front of them. It's happening every day.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Port Augusta police tracked down a man they believe robbed a liquor store. And Tasting Australia is making its way to Port Lincoln. After the break, we'll tell you how locals can get involved. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Gulf News. Police have identified the man suspected of being involved in an alleged robbery at a Port Augusta liquor store. On Saturday night at about 7:50, a man entered the store on Commercial Road and threatened staff with a knife. It would then be alleged he stole cash and miniature alcohol bottles. Police believe the same suspect is responsible for a petrol theft on Victoria Parade about 8 p.m. shortly after the robbery. Anyone with information that may help with the investigation is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. Residents were invited to give their feedback on a draft budget proposal by the Whyalla City Council for the year ahead. They are looking to capitalise on the announcements made last week for a new hydrogen hub in the city.
An opportunity for the residents of Whyalla to have their say. The Whyalla City Council holding a consultation session last night to gauge community feedback on the draft budget and business plan.
So it's that time of year and Council's really keen to get feedback from the community about the services, programs and projects that Council will deliver next year.
The draft budget will focus on livability improvements such as the Foreshore Master Plan, the Cuttlefish Coast Project and the Jubilee Park upgrade. Responding to last week's federal government announcement of a hydrogen hub also on the agenda.
We're really excited about what the future holds for Whyalla, but what we do appreciate is that it's going to take a number of years before some of that private sector and government investment occurs within our city.
Plans will also look at enticing workers to relocate to Whyalla, while also enhancing the quality of life for existing residents. The council providing a variety of ways residents can have their say if they weren't able to make it to the in-person consultation last night.
We'll be holding a special council meeting on the 16th of May where people can come and do a verbal presentation to council, and we'll have a second public forum on the 17th of May.
Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Tasting Australia has made its way to Port Lincoln in town to host an event with the well-renowned Line and Label restaurant tomorrow night. The must-visit food destination is hoping to display its finest range of Eyre Peninsula seafood.
The flavours of the Eyre Peninsula plated up for this year's Tasting Australia event. Led by head chef Mark Jensen, the Line and Label restaurant is eager to impress with the region's finest foods.
We got a nice event on tomorrow night. So there's a month-long Tasting Australia event, and they've invited us to participate. They just wanted to showcase our Peninsula seafood.
Mark and the team have been busy preparing a range of seafoods for what he is calling the Taste of EP.
Like the tuna and the kingfish are all fantastic. We have them on there. The oysters are all fantastic. But just with this Tasting Australia or Taste of EP as we're doing it, we're just going for the premium products, the lobsters, the abalones, the King George whitings.
Jensen's menu will also highlight the restaurant's produce grown on site at Peter Tika Wines. The restaurant, the only one awarded with a chef's hat, that's taking part in the event on the Eyre Peninsula. But the food doesn't stop here, with Mother's Day celebrations just around the corner.
Totally separate menu. So yeah, this week we're preparing a few menus. We've got Taste of Australia, then we've got regular a la carte menu, and then we've got Mother's Day. So we're preparing 3 menus this week.
And there is plenty of time to get in on all the action.
If they book online through Tasting Australia, even if they come through to our website, it'll divert them to book through online on Tasting Australia. It's a very simple process.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Federal money on the way to widen and improve bridges in Grey, and Broken Hill's Machinery Preservation Society to host a free community day for locals. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Golf News. Bridge upgrades within the York and Mid-North region will receive even more funding from the federal government. With many bridges along regional roads being built more than a century ago, the member for Grey says they desperately need to be upgraded to support modern freight loads.
Keeping freight moving. Rowan Ramsey has visited one of 3 regional road bridges that will be upgraded under the $7.8 million bridge renewal program.
And we're here at Pine Creek Crossing, which is between Laura and Appler. This is a bridge that has a 30-tonne rating on it. It used to carry more, but it's been shut down in recent seasons, and so it's a major inconvenience to the main grain route, if you like.
The member for Grey announcing that $2.9 million will be used to upgrade the 70-year-old Pine Creek Bridge to support larger freight.
It's what will get them over the line, and it's a fantastic investment in road infrastructure.
The bridge will be widened and have its culverts replaced, and work will be done to enhance the existing structure and floodway.
It's a wonderful announcement that Rowan has announced this morning of the bridge upgrading. It'll be terrific.
The ability to bring produce from the northern side of this bridge through this bridge will save time.
While the bridge has been shut to freight, truck drivers have had to take longer alternate routes on unsealed roads. This has led to those roads deteriorating and becoming more and more unsafe.
A dirt road that is not capable of continually taking that amount of traffic.
It was beyond our capacity to upgrade this bridge without the support from the Commonwealth Government, and we need that support to continue.
Heading into the federal election, Mr Ramsey says he is committed to improving more regional roads, with the Liberal government allocating an additional $40 million to the bridge renewal program over the next 4 years. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The West Darling Machinery Preservation Society is giving back to the community this Saturday with an open day at Queen Elizabeth Park. The day will feature a merry-go-round, face painting and everyone's favourite, the picnic train.
After being derailed for 2 years, the picnic train is up and running once again. And the Machinery Preservation Society want to show the community how much their support means to them. The Society giving back by opening doors to locals on Saturday.
We're holding an open day for the community. We'd like to give back to the community for showing the support to us. They come each time we run the train.
The open day will take place at the new home of the train, Queen Elizabeth Park. It will be a family-friendly affair with plenty of activities on offer, from face painting to barbecues and, of course, train rides all a part of the agenda. And there's some goodies for the kids.
Oh, a fun day, definitely a fun day. We've got the merry-go-round, we have the police and the fire brigade coming. They're both going to have giveaways for the children.
After having a couple of years off to relocate and navigate the pandemic, the organisation says it's pleased with how their new home has turned out, with the new kiosk being a wonderful addition.
Oh, definitely. The kiosk is a great draw card, along with the shelter, the lawn. We've actually got lawn, which is really nice.
The open day is supported by Broken Hill City Council through the Community Assistance Grant. It starts at 9:30am with a couple of speeches by the Mayor and the Society. Those planning on attending should get there early, as it's bound to be popular. Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. Edward McCarroll has this week's Fuel Watch segment, breaking down petrol prices in the Spencer Gulf, and we'll have the weather details with John Hunt. Welcome back to 7 Spencer Gulf News. Moving into May, fuel prices seem to be sitting where they were last month. It's left Port Augusta residents still waiting for a price drop that will bring their costs closer to their neighbouring cities. Here's Edward McCarroll with this week's Fuel Watch.
Unleaded prices seem to be a bit of a mixed bag across our region at the moment, with Broken Hill and Adelaide seeing change while the rest of the region seems to be at a standstill. We have a few green arrows across the board this week, but really it's nothing to get excited about, with most prices looking very similar to how they did last week. The price of unleaded in Port Lincoln is sitting at $1.79 per litre, while Port Pirie can grab it for $1.78. Wyle is looking the best at the moment at $1.74, but for its next door neighbours in Port Augusta, the price remains around the $1.82 mark. Across the border, Broken Hill has seen prices rise by 5 cents, while Adelaide has seen prices drop from $1.83 to a much nicer $1.62. Diesel customers will once again be seeing red when they reach the Bowser, as for the second week in a row, all major cities and townships have seen the price of diesel continue to climb. Filling up in Whyalla will cost you 2 cents more this week. A similar price bump has been seen in Port Lincoln and Port Pirie as well. Broken Hill has seen prices rise from $1.94 to $1.97, but the steepest pricing of the bunch is in Port Augusta, where diesel now sits at $2.01. Moving on, it's pretty quiet on the autogas front. All cities from Port Lincoln through to Port Pirie seeing gas sit at the exact same price it was last week. Even across the border in Broken Hill, prices have remained the same at $1.17. Once again, it's Adelaide that has seen a slight shake-up, with the price of autogas dropping from $1.05 to $1.02. While it's just a small drop from last week, across the board Adelaide is clearly the best place to be filling up at the moment. So if you're making a trip down to the city for the weekend, I suggest you do most of your filling up down there. As always, these prices are the regional averages and do not represent one particular outlet. If you see fuel for cheaper, please let us know through our Facebook page.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with John Hunt. John, it was a bit of a soggy start to Wednesday.
It was, Maddie. There were a few showers today, and they're set to linger into the weekend. More on that later, but first a look at today. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta reached 18 degrees, Broken Hill was partly cloudy in 19, and Coober Pedy was 20 degrees. Whyalla had a shower or two and was 18. Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Adelaide had showers and reached 17, and Cleve and Kadina were both 16 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, and speckled cloud across the south and a cold air mass behind a front is generating a few isolated showers. High cloud further north is not bringing any rain. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and on the Gulf waters. Southwesterly winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas will get to 1 and 1.5 metres, and south to southwesterly swells 1 to 2 metres. Showers easing in 16 in Port Lincoln tomorrow, Cleve 15 degrees, and it will be partly cloudy in Woodner with 17. Whyalla will get to a max of 16, while Port Augusta and Kadina are both set to reach 17 degrees. Showers easing in Port Pirie tomorrow with 18. Clear will be chilly, only getting to 12 degrees, and Broken Hill will be partly cloudy and 14. Taking a look further through the week now, and on Friday, a number of centres will have showers and reach 17 degrees. Woodner will be partly cloudy and also get to 17. Similar conditions in Broken Hill with 14. Coober Pedy set for a max of 18. On Saturday, those showers are still continuing in Port Lincoln and Kadina, both 18. Port Pirie will have a shower or two with 19. A possible shower in Whyalla with 17 degrees. Sunny in Broken Hill with 15 degrees. Partly cloudy and 19 in Port Augusta, Woodna and Cooper PD. To Sunday now, and those showers will have cleared across the region. Port Augusta, Port Pirie, Woodna and Cooper PD all set to reach 20. 19 degrees set for Port Lincoln, Kadina and Adelaide. Whyalla will get to 18, and across the border in Broken Hill, it will reach 16 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. And that's all in the weather from me tonight. Gee, I hope you have a coat handy tomorrow. It's not looking that very nice out there. I'll be back with a weather update in a few hours' time, but for now, it's back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, John. And that's the local news this Wednesday. I'm Madeline Kerr. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.